This is the Parent Advisory Council. It's an offshoot of the PIC. Really, this is something, you know, as we talked about, if you weren't here last time, it is a regulation under the Department of Education to have Parent Advisory Council if you receive ESEA funding, and we do. So that's why we are here today. So I just wanted to give you like a brief overview. I know in our original meeting we kind of talked about ESEA, what it was, the grants process, how we spent our money. So this is just, you know, updates in regards to ESEA, which includes Title I, Title II, sorry, that should be Title III, Title III Immigrant, Title IV, and ARP, which is the American Rescue Plan grant. So we're just going to briefly talk about 2 grants. And I know we showed you a Google Slides presentation last time, so we went with a Padlet this time, okay? And the best way that I thought to kind of do this is collaborate with all of the buildings. So this is a combination of the administration team for all the Title I buildings, as well as you're going to see is later on the agenda our ESL students. And a lot of these buildings house our ESL students. So we're going to start off with, like to start, if it's okay with Mr. Scarano, and I'll ask him if he'd like to kind of just briefly talk about the information he put up for Bayshore, which relates to his Title I annual school plan, which has 3 goals, and I'm going to let him take it from there.
Sure, so the one that's up there now is our ELA and intervention and coaching goal, where essentially our language arts support is parceled out across all 3 grades, and it's prescribed based on student need. We do have a primary push-in model in 7th grade, and these interventions tend to last a little longer with students because it could expand over both reading and/or writing strategies that need to be improved. Whereas in our math, and you'll see in the other goal, our math students are identified on pre-chapter assessments. So these are short, brief assessments that are given prior to each chapter, in which the math interventionist and coach will work either in small groups or individually in a push-in or pull-out model with the students based on those particular concepts that will be explored through the upcoming chapter. So those interventions, in opposition to those in ELA, tend to be a little shorter, and they're very, very specific to each chapter. Our 3rd and final goal was our Project Echo community-based goal, which has primarily started out in our 6th grade with the intention of expanding this over all 3 grades each year. And it started with class advisors, and again, starting with 6th grade, those class advisors will remain with the 6th grade students throughout their time in 8th grade. We'll start with a new group in 6th next year, and then expanding the following year to that 6th grade, so that there will eventually be 3 grades with that advisor support. But the goal is for each particular grade level class, by the time they leave 8th grade, to leave behind something or some mark on the community and/or school. This particular group is currently working for their 3-year goal to be an outdoor learning space, which we find a lot of value in over the last couple of years. So that is something they are working to, and this was their first fundraiser of the year, which was a holiday movie night. They're currently working on a Fins Up February initiative that they are doing now, which will lead to their 2nd fundraiser in the spring to try and continue to raise money for their particular goal in the next 2 years.
So thank you, Mr. Scarano. And what you'll see as we go through is that, if you remember in the beginning of the year, we kind of talked about how the Title I funds are used, and the majority of the funds are used towards our interventionists. So as you see like the updates here, you're going to see a lot about like, and I just thought it would be neat, since, you know, you may not, hear everything about what's going on at school, because sometimes I ask and I get all the details from my son, and then sometimes, who's good, mommy, So just a quick picture of, different students within the building working with the interventionists. I thought it might be nice to just kind of have a visual. And then again, with Mr. Strano, his building has a annual school plan. So broken down, besides the interventionists, he allocates money in collaboration with me towards those 3 goals that are in his plan. And those that money is used towards like interventionist supplies to support the students that are identified. Okay. And then I'm going to invite Mr. Pete Smith to come up for Leonardo. If you'd like to share, Mr. Smith.
Bert, are they gonna have a copy of this?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
So basically, this actually is a great idea, the way this has been set up. Because the first time that all the principals of Title I schools were here, along with myself, we basically explained to you what was happening in the classroom with our interventionists or outside the classrooms, right? So this gives you a visual. So I have two, the first two pictures I have on here is just a picture of my, that's my math specialist, and I have another one, my literacy reading development teacher, who pulls students individually for approximately 20 minutes, depending on what tier they're in and how many times a week, and they work with them individually on their level. And then I'm in ELL magnet school, so there's also, and a lot of her work is push in, and there's some examples of her pushing into the classroom supporting students, and she also does pull out as well. So my ESL teacher works in the same capacity as the redevelopment and math specialist by doing both push in and pull out intervention. And there's just some live pictures of what that looks like inside the classroom and outside the classroom.
So this is a picture, the first one was the interventionist?
Yeah, that's the ESL, a few students working on, most likely they're working on the same goal with our teacher inside the classroom. The first one with the math specialist and a pull-out, and the next one with our redevelopment teacher on her knees, getting down to the level of our little ones.
The one in the middle.
Yeah, right in the middle. So, and the redevelopment teacher and the math specialist also push into classrooms, and they also help teachers. They collaborate on Tier 1 goals, which are happening inside the classroom with the general education teacher. Well, with their classroom teacher, I'm sorry. Their classroom teacher.
So in that one, they're actually, they're creating how-to books,
Yep.
which is exciting.
Yep.
And then, I don't know if I scrolled to that one, but that one is them using a graphic organizer for their writing, for their literacy.
Yeah, I believe that was third grade. Yep.
Looks on the middle picture with the reading development teacher, almost looks like they're doing like word work.
Yes.
Something with blending and phonics, probably a double dose of, what we call double dose of foundations. So sometimes students who need more phonemic awareness or phonics skills developed, like the whole class gets a lesson in foundations, which is our phonics-based program for word work. Helps emerging readers with decoding, which eventually, if you're more fluent reader, have better decoding skills, obviously your comprehension is stronger. So there, like that, the blue sheet in the back is probably their beginning and ending sounds, their letters, and their blends, it looks like.
And then we get to have meetings with like the interventionist and Dr. Kerrigan, myself, the directors. We analyze the data to see where all the students are, the growth that's being, that the students' progress as they move forward, and so we can continue to always like reevaluate and measure success.
And our interventionists do monthly check-ins. We set up grade level monthly check-ins with our math specialist and redevelopment teacher, and they meet with just, in my school, I pretty much have 2 sections per grade. So it's just basically them two, myself, and the 2 classroom teachers, and we talk about all of our students, having students in tier, that is students come to tier, brainstorming on what interventions they can do in the classroom, and helping them create Tier 1 goals. So they serve as a good resource for our teachers in that regard as well.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Susan.
Okay, here we have Fairview in collaboration with Mr. Milando. Starfall is an additional program that we bought under Title III funds to support the students in ESL strategies in ELA. So he shows the picture of students working in Starfall. This is Ocean Avenue School, which is another Title I school-wide school. Miss Cindy Wilson also does an annual school plan for her school and creates the goals. And there's, again, a lot of the funding goes towards the interventionists under Title I, but we are in the process of doing the ESEA amendment right now, and principals are, allocating money towards additional instructional supplies to provide the extra support to the students. This particular entry that she wrote is about the Before and After School Learning Academy. If you remember on the agenda, I said ARP as well, because her particular after-school program is going to be funded out of the American Rescue Plan under one of the sub-grants, which talks about providing students additional support, academic support. So that's what I kind of just asked them to give. I just thought it would be kind of nice to have like a blend of, hey, what's going on with all the grants? So some of the things you see on here are representing our ESL students. Some of the things you see are representing, things we're buying with the grants in regards to instructional supplies, our interventionists at work. Or now we've recently been putting out postings for the before or after school programs, and some of them are funded under the ARP grant.
And for Jet, there's two up there that are really great to highlight as well.
Yes.
Well, in addition to the Before and After School Learning Academy, why it falls under an acceptable allowable use is because you're extending the school day for those students. So in addition to getting targeted, focused instruction or tiered intervention during the school day, perhaps in small groups or in one-on-one, in Ocean Avenue, they're also extending the school day for certain students who need additional time beyond that type of intervention. And the other one I want to point out is a great picture of the student working with, is she spelling out the word wish? So
Yes,
those are the pixie sticks. They're like the flexible, great to use with our emerging readers. It's a multi-sensory tactile approach to reinforce the word word work, decoding again, phonics, phonemic awareness. Sometimes they'll use shaving cream, they'll use sand trays, because what you're doing there is, it's in addition to using the multi-sensory approach to learning sounds, again, decoding strategies, you're also using TPR, total physical, tactile physical response, which is really great for some learners. The basis of all of this is that everybody learns differently, so you're trying to employ different strategies to reach all different learning styles. But also, some students can learn just by being exposed, and all students learn something by just being exposed. But there's certain areas of subject areas or curriculum or skill development where certain students need either more time on task or a different approach to learning that particular skill. So it's really about personalizing and differentiating as well in the classroom.
Definitely, and those wiki sticks are so versatile. Like you can bend them, like you have big books in the classroom, you can stick them on the particular sight words that the teacher's focusing on that class. There's so many uses for them.
Yep.
Just a quick question. Project Echo that Mr. Scranton talked about sounded great. How is that? What is that funded under?
Is that under your
Title I. Yep,
Yeah.
out of his annual school plan.
Oh, they have Bay Shore's whole school.
They are targeted under, it's called SIA, for different data measures that were identified a really long time ago. And to be honest with you,
So for those of you who are here long enough, Jet wasn't here at the time, you may remember Jessica Shaw standing up there, Jessica Alphone, talking about the first time with Mr. Sgrano that Bayshore was identified as an SIA school. And that all related back to their very small Asian Pacific Islander population that didn't achieve a certain level on their statewide assessment comparable to their peer group. And it wasn't even a failing score. It's just that they didn't score in the high 90s as their peer groups in other like schools did. So this money has been following them, even though these students have long since graduated, but it's still benefiting the school. And that, I know at the time Jessica and Mike worked really hard on developing a plan. I think originally you used some money to bring in the esports program to get more students engaged.
We did. That
Yep.
was the first. We were charged with changing, because we have the 3 goals, changing it every year. We actually used some of the Before and After School Learning Academy. We rebranded that to be part of this, and we're using that particular goal to assist with it.
So Mike's perspective and Jessica at the time was, hey, these students are going to be here, and some of them had already graduated even at the time we were first identified. I remember us talking, and we were like, well, let's do something that benefits the whole population since this money is coming to us,
Well, I thought that was a simple question.
Yeah, there's a long history to that.
And I believe we're getting an extra year this year because of the pandemic.
Yes.
We have been getting extra.
It's still been coming. We keep taking too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 years, it's been about 6.
It's
So.
about 6, yeah.
Okay, it just seemed
They keep giving us
unusual.
money.
Yes.
We keep using it.
Thank you.
yes, and so this is another one of Ms. Wilson's for OAS math interventions, different specialized math kits that she bought to work on fluency, addition, subtraction, with her interventionists. Down here, you're going to see some of these are from Flora Middle School, from Ms. Shannon Smith, and then you also see highlights from Ms. Kagan. Ms. Kagan is our part-time ESL teacher. She's part-time at Bayshore, and she's part-time at High School North. So here is some of the intervention that this is particular to math, and then Ms. Smith also put one in regards to ESL. She explains like the different tiers, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and how they are implemented in the classrooms. And then Ms. Keegan's just showing different strategies that she uses. She's very individualized with the students in her ESL groups, supporting their individual goals, and providing that additional, ELA reinforcement.
I see Ms. Smith also emphasize that a lot of this instruction is taking place during the middle school advisory block, which is what that was intended, to support at the time. Mr. Scarano and at that time Mr. Lawson, originally, but even Mr. Kirkpatrick was there, but then Mr. Curry took over. Myself and Mrs. Alcone, we worked on restructuring that schedule. That was really important. You remember when we spoke to you, it was about having a dedicated time in the day where students can receive targeted instruction that otherwise they were being pulled out from their classes for.
Now, ESL students, because there are only certain schools that have those programs. So does the Title I or does that follow the student or
Title
stays
III.
Title III?
Yeah, it's separate monies from one.
Title III.
So it follows
And
the
the Title III
kid,
was
the child,
at
it
the
doesn't
time.
matter where their home school is.
Does it matter where they're?
It supports the program.
Yeah, it's
Okay, so because.
Regardless of where they're
because-
located.
Okay, so because that child may have to move to where the services are.
Yeah, and that's a really good question, thank you. So, in the beginning of the year when I met, we have 3.5 ESL teachers that meet specifically with the ESL students that we have in the district. So we meet very frequently, and we met in the beginning of the year. We kind of went over like, what extra supports would you need for like your classroom. So we created a collaborative like Google Doc materials, and we were able to, depending on the allocation that we had, the grant allocation, we were able to buy some of that. And then when we do the amendment, the grant amendment, we had some carryover funds. So now I'm able to continue to work on that list of things that they needed for extra support. So they were purchasing things like, instructional kits, like more books, multicultural books for their libraries to work with the students on their reading skills. It's a very collaborative, like when we go through the grants process to figure out what the unique needs of the students are. And then just at Thorne too, all of the Title I parent schools were part of this, but Ms. Smith had some great pictures from the event at the beginning of the school year. All the Title I schools are required to have like a beginning of the year event when they talk about like how they are a Title I school. They may choose to talk about like their particular, annual school plan if they have one, or the goals for their school, how the funding is going to be used. And usually they have like some sort of presentation or shared information from their interventionists. So knowing that reading is a goal that all our schools have, they were able to, all the schools work together to work with me to use the funding to have like ELA strategies presented to the parents, but then also they were able to get books to hand out at the event to encourage reading for all the students. So she took some really nice pictures there as well. Okay. Harmony School, again, Mr. Paulson did a really great job of analyzing his data, and he had just put out his posting for before and after school programs as well. So they'll be getting started up very shortly for their programs. Then we have some from our other ESL teachers in the district. We have some posts from Sue Meehan, who works at Middletown Village. And she chose to point out Project Read and the story form puzzle and how they use that in the ESL classes to support their students' reading and writing. And then she also, one of the things she asked for on that collaborative list that we talked about was the purchase of puppets to read with the students, to engage them in their storytelling with fluency. So that's been a hit with the students using all the puppets for that. There's a different approach she's taking with that. Okay, and then we have Miss Lebron, who also is an ESL teacher, but she's also a Spanish teacher. So this is like one of the videos that she has, and she's talking about what Ms. Pikas had referenced regarding TPR, and the student shares talking about food.
Comer tocino,
He's so cute, he's ahead of me.
tostadas y huevos y fruta. Tengo sed. Quiero beber leche con chocolate, jugo de naranja y jugo de manzana. Adiós.
I think that's majority. Oh, we have one more here. That was a Miss La Pernana, and so is this here. This is one of her 6th grade students.
Hola, me llamo Bella. La comida. Tengo mucho hambre. Quiero comer el chocolate, el plátano, el brócoli y la pizza. Tengo sed. Quiero beber el jugo de uvas, la leche de chocolate y el refresco. Adiós.
So it's really cool. They use a lot of different technology apps and resources within their classrooms, and the students love making like a Flipgrid to exercise like their language skills and what they're learning. And that was her 6th grade class at Bayshore. Okay, any questions regarding the Padlet? And again, you'll have access to this through the agenda. Okay, just thought that was kind of a good visual to see. Okay, so just in regards to access testing, the window opens on Valentine's Day. So we will begin testing. That is just for ESL students, but it can, in regards to the DOE requirements, it includes students who are receiving services now under ESL, as well as students who have declined services. The only group it does not include is for any students that may have been part of the program that exited out because they took the access in a prior year and had a score of 4.5 or higher, and we worked with the principals, like we give out like a feedback form, which they look at with their counselor, just to make sure the students are ready to exit out and to be looking at multiple measures. So that is the only way that they would be excused from taking it, is if they were exited due to their growth over the course of the years. Okay, and access for L's resource library. So for these meetings, I'll either work to, I know this was like a longer meeting, last time we had the library come in. Sometimes I'll bring in community members, and sometimes I'll provide community type resources on the agenda, depending on how long the agendas are. But this is, I just want to make you aware. So as a parent, and the teachers, this is the WIDA website, which I'm very frequently on, but it goes over and has so much information for the ESL teachers to use to support them, as well as information about access testing. It has PD videos. It has so many great resources on it, really great search features to search by topic. And you can see there's pages of information, goes over the proficiency standards. There's so many wonderful, I know for access testing, things I wanted to provide, because I have some teachers who've done it several times and some who have never done it in New Jersey. So I was able to find so many resource manuals that they have linked to the site. So I was able to provide that to the teachers and kind of go over and point out and highlight important parts and resources that were available to them. So this is a great resource library.
Where are the ESL programs? High school, north?
So we have, at our elementary level, we have Leonardo at Mr. Smith's school. We also have Fairview, and then we also have Middletown Village. And then we have students for the middle school level at Bayshore, and then High School North. tests in so many different languages, Polish, Spanish, Italian, French, and I'm excited to say we had the most students that have now qualified for the seal over the past couple of years. We had 10 last year, which was amazing because of the situation we were in with, COVID, the fact that they wanted to take it. But we had 15 students from South and 17 from North that are working towards the seal of biliteracy right now. They got the needed scores on the assessments because we administered them in December, and then we had makeups in the beginning of January. So that's super exciting for our students, and there'll be more to come with that. And then just some technology resources in regards to, Title I that the DOE has on their site. They do keep updating it. And Title III, bilingual and ESL education, if anybody needs that information. There's a lot of good information for parents on there. Okay. So if you're ever not sure about, like I had mentioned before, Ms. Smith had pictures of the parent-family engagement event from the beginning of the school year. We keep referencing the annual school plans, information on that here. So, and there's a plethora of information along the side. That's for Title I. And then this refers to Title III, bilingual, immigrant students. Okay, parental rights are here, different resources. That's kind of what I reference the most in regards to, checking anything, if it's, a requirement by the DOE. It has links to they added podcasts that wasn't there in previous years, different program resources, information on family engagement. So, and it gives you everything on here too. These are all links to more information. I was just talking about seal of biliteracy, the access for ELS testing, which starts February 14th. So they keep adding some more really valuable resources. I just wanted everybody to know where they are. And then as I was just doing some research, I found this website here, which goes, it's New Jersey State Library, and it goes over information for, my eye kind of just took to the, just in regards to support parents, resource guide for adult English language learners of New Jersey, and then just career connections for, because we do have some students at our high school that just came over, to our school from another country, may not be aware of all the resources that they have. So I thought that would be kind of helpful to look at. And then I'm just trying to, be efficient, but also be respectful of your time. So is there any questions you have or anything else I can provide to you today? And